Welcome to Study Guide Forum. Today we'll be looking at the specimen for 2003 biology practical exam, and based on that, the list of items or specimen that we are going to use for this experiment. These are the things that we listed on the board, and we're going to, look at some of the possible questions that might be coming out from this, from the specimen. So the first one we have there is a mature fresh egg of a catfish, and the next one, the B specimen B, is a fresh egg of a domestic fowl. Specimen C is a picture of uterus containing fetus. The next one, specimen D, is a longitudinal section of the ovary of Pride of Barbados, and specimen E is a leaf of Pride of Barbados. And then we have a specimen F, which is Penacum plant, that is Guinea grass. We also have specimen G, which is cocoyam plant or Cabanadum plant. We have another one. We have the comb of a cocoyam. We have a dry humus. It should be dry humus in a beaker, and then moist humus in a beaker too. The next one we have there is specimen L, which is ripe orange fruit, and specimen M is a longitudinal section of a coconut fruit, and the last specimen there, which is specimen N, which is the longitudinal section of fresh cherry pepper fruits. So these are what you are going to see on the first full day. So let's quickly look at it. Look at the possible question that we're likely to see from this. So we're going to be looking at some of these questions that we're going to see in this process, in this exam. If you look at this, if you look at specimen A, B, C, D, all of them seems to have something in common. The four of them have something in common, and that thing they have in common is all about reproduction. And we look at specimen E and F. They also have something in common. In this case, this other one is a plant, a leaf, and this other one is a full plant of Guinea grass. So you go down a bit to specimen G and H. These are one of the cocoyam comb and the cocoyam plant there has something in common in the sense that this is coming from the cocoyam itself, and then it undergoes a kind of vegetative reproduction. It's used for vegetative reproduction, and we can look at it in the other way around. That is a kind of opposite of what we have here, and opposite of what we have in this other one, which is the ovary. While this one is for sexual reproduction, this other one is for asexual reproduction. So you are likely to expect something that will be kind of comparing the kind of reproduction you have here and what you have in this, the kind of reproduction we have in the comb of a cocoyam. So the next one we have the specimen G, have a dry humus and moist humus. Two of them have something in common. So in this case, that you are likely to expect something like calculating the percentage water content in the humus. So we're likely to expect something like that. Down to this other end of it, you have to the last three, we have the L, M, and N. This is ripe fruits, ripe orange fruits. We have a longitudinal section of coconut fruits, and the last one we have there is a longitudinal section of a fresh chili pepper fruit. All these things here have something in common too. all of them are fruits. So you are likely to expect something like placentation or types of fruits. So let's quickly look at this other one we have already said. Let's start from the, the first four. In the first four, all of them are for reproduction. And in, if we are to look at these three, the three first, all of them are what? They are all vertebral animal. They are all vertebral animal. And in these three together, in these three together, um, they exist in different habitats. And they also have some, in other words, since they exist in different habitats, these two exist in the same habitat, while the first one exists in aquatic habitat. There are some adaptation that makes them to survive, to make their young ones to survive in their environment, even the full-grown ones. One of the ways of the for the egg of a fish, one of the things adaptive features they have there is that they reproduce many eggs. These many eggs they reproduce help them to survive because in their habitat they tend to have a lot of predators. So in order to avoid the danger of being going into out of existence, they tend to reproduce more so that some of them will survive. And another adaptive feature here for this aquatic plant animal is that their egg is jelly-like. It's sticky somehow. This sticky nature is one of the adaptive features that help them to survive, to to survive or resist the water current that may tend to push them off from where um, they can hatch. That means a environment that can support their hatching process. That's one of the things, one of the features they have that help them to survive in that area. So this other one, we talk about the being that it's in the water, they don't have problem of dehydration. So there is no need for what shell, like what we have in this in the farm. When you come to the farm now, you find out that there's a little advancement now from the water to the um, land, terrestrial plants, animal now. This one being a land animal, and then it lays its egg, it does not carry it inside his body, meaning that there will be problem of one of the problem the egg needs to survive is the problem of dehydration. So because of this dehydration, they tend to develop feature that help them to survive, which is the shell that help to produce to reduce the dehydration of their of the egg, the growing embryo inside the egg. So the shell itself serve as a kind of protection. These are some of the things you should also expect here. And another thing you should note is that this other one, in two of them, they have something in common all together. They lay eggs, and that is what we call oviparous. Oviparous. Oviparous, that means they lay egg. They have that in common. But in the other opposite of them, this other one does not require shell because it lives in water. This other one has a require shell because it will need to survive the hydration process. So with the shell, we can help to protect it from dehydration. So these are some similarities and also differences between two of them. And the other one we want to look at here is that when we come down here to the specimen C, find out that being that this one has advanced to a certain level, and then it's not oviparous, this is viviparous. That means he carries uh, his own inside the body. So it does not need all this process of laying egg or the hydration. The baby there is always protected, and all the nutrients comes from the mother. Unlike what we have here, I'm just trying to um, give you a picture of some of the things you are likely to expect here. And if you look at these ones, all two of them, another thing they have in common is that they have nutrients. The eggs inside have nutrients that can sustain the embryo, the growing, developing embryo to full to maturity. And this one, they don't really need that since it's always there. The mother will always supply it through the cord, that they, through the placenta and pass through the cord to them. So they don't really need all these things. So these are looking at the difference between this other one that's highly developed from the other one that are less developed. So we'll come down to this other end. Find out that this other one, the plant, is a this plant we have here is the flower itself is the type of flower we call a complete flower. Complete flower is a flower that has all the features. It has the male and female reproductive organ intact. It has all the non-essential parts. Everything is intact. That that's why we call them what complete flower. So, and also another thing you should note in this one is that they are what we call the their ovary methods, the position of the ovary, the type of ovary they have here is what we call the superior ovary. Because in the sense, the superior ovary has, for example, let me just give you a sketch of what we mean. So this is a sample, a sketch of what we mean here. That is the rectangle, the rectangle, and the ovary is on top of the rectangle. That means above it, and then um, for that reason, this type of positioning is what we call the superior ovary. And another thing about this flower is that it's insect pollinated flower. It's brightly colored, and it also has some it has scents that attract the insect. These are some of few characteristics of insect pollinated flowers that I can list out here. Another one now, being an insect pollinated flowers, this other one going coming down to this end to the grass level, you find out that this other one, they are not insect pollinated flowers. They are wind pollinated, and so for that reason they are not brightly colored. This other one is not brightly colored. What I'm doing now is I'm comparing this specimen D and specimen F. So they are not brightly colored. They produce more pollen grains, so that it can um, encourage pollination. And then we will come down to this other end of it, the specimen E. Specimen E, you find out that the specimen E is a leaf of Bradovibus. Now in this one, that is the leaf is what we call the compound. A compound leaf. We have the one we call a simple leaf, the one that is just perhaps the one we have something like let's say orange plant, just like this. Orange plant is the example of what simple leaf. But why we call them um, compound leaf? Because they have a lot of leaflets. For example, the plant in question, the leaf in question looks like this. So when we look at this is a picture of how it's like, just a sketch of it. It's a compound leaf that looks like this. This is the other small leaflets that you have there, and then this is the a lot of the other leaflets altogether. They have a lot of leaflet and pinnets, pinneted. They are pinneted all around them. So this kind of thing is what we call, because of the nature of this and the other one, we say is what by dipinnates. That means um, their arrangement is double. So now, while looking at this placement F, comparing both of them, this other one is parallel veneted. This other one is parallel veneted. That means, and it belongs to grass family. It's parallel veneted, as are this one, which is net veneted. So in this case, this other one is common with wind pollinated flowers, while this other one is for insect pollinated flower. A good example of insect pollinated flowers. So the next thing we're going to do, one thing again I want you to know about this specimen F is that they have their characteristics that help them to, encourage that. Like I think I've said something like that before. They produce more pollen grains. They are also they have they don't have scent. Do you understand? They don't have nectar that will attract the sugar substance that you see in some flowers that insects will come and try to feed on it. So all those things are not present there. And then they don't have any bright color. Most of them are green and they are also small in size. So these are some features that help this one to survive, to encourage their flowers to pollinate. So we'll come down to this other end, which is dealing with um, vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction. Now, from this point to that end, if we are to take it back to this place again, we can have something to compare between them. While this other one is sexual, this specimen D is sexual reproduction. This other one is what? Asexual. They don't need fission or fertilization for their reproduction to take place. Now, the chief of all this one is a comb, which is the major thing that you need to plant. And there's something again I want you to know about this plant. It has underground shoots, and then the stem, is kind of swelling up, and that is where it serves as a storage organ for the plant. That is where they store the food. And one of the food they normally store is what? Starch. In this exam, you should also expect a situation where they will ask you to test for starch, because one of the reagents you will be presented with is iodine and also filling solution. So remember that this one is storage organ. It serves as storage organ, that is specimen H serves as what? Storage organ, and also as organ for vegetative reproduction. So what happened here is that as a storage organ that stores starch, when you drop iodine on it, it turns blue black, giving you, meaning that the storage substance is there. What they store is what? Starch. So in this case, like I've already told you, this one is for vegetative propagation, and their leaf pattern, because we have the whole plant there. We have a whole plant there. The leaf pattern of it, the leaf looks like this. The leaf of a cocoyam looks like this. We have something that looks like this. So this type of arrangement is what we call sag. We call it, where would I put this in now? Saginet. This is the shape of the leaf. We call it saginet in this sense that it has a sharp point and a broad margin. So we say it's what? Saginet. That's the kind of the leaf arrangement it has. And also, the another important thing I think we should also note about this plant is the idea that it serves as what? Vegetative reproductive part of the plant. That is the corm itself plays a very important role in that. Now the next one we went down to is this dry humus in a beaker and a moist humus. The major thing here is that we are going to look at in this area. Possible question you're going to see there is I am trying to find out your knowledge of the role of this in improving soil fertility. And also you can also it's possible that they will ask you to find the level of water present in them. You calculate the level of water in them. To do that, sometimes you might be expected to heat it, weigh it after weighing it, the heat, and you check the level. For the dry one, it will remain the same, but for this one, there will be a loss in weight when you heat it. So that's one of the possible questions. Some of the possible questions you might be seeing in that area. When we come to this other end, you find out that all of them are there what fruits. They are all fruits. So this other one is coming from the oranges belongs to the orange is coming from the group we call the uh, his his drum, and is a another is a one of the division of the fleshy fruits. Fleshy fruit because they are succulents. Because they are succulent, we say they are berry. Unlike what I told you, I said that I mix it up there when I told you that is a berry. Berry is also one of them. About um, they have about three of them. We have berry, we have the drupe, and then we have this other one, that of orange. So in this case now, you are likely to um, you are likely to expect something like that. So another thing we are expecting here is that you can also test for uh, glucose there or sugar. That's what we have there is fructose, which is another form of glucose. That is what we normally say because we, we normally call isomer of glucose. That means testing with failing solution, a failing solution that will that will turn brick red when you add it to such a substance. Now the next thing here, um, if you come down here, coconut is a good example of the one we call the drupe. Is a good example of the one we call the drupe. The drupe is known to be wonderful. And another thing I want to make clear here is that for this other one, for the orange fruit that looks like this, which I did not talk about, or if I can just make a very fine drawing, what we have here is that the epicarp, the epicarp and mesocarp are somehow fused together. This is the epicarp. Mesocarp and then endocarp. They are all fused. The epicarp and mesocarp are somewhat fused together. But now when we talk about the coconut which belongs to the group to the drupe, we have something that look like this. So this is the epicarp. We have the dry words and mesocarp, dry mesocarp, and then we have an endocarp. We have the endocarp, and inside here again we have the seed itself. That's where the seed resides. So you are likely to expect something like comparing this and that. And this other one, we're likely to compare both of them to show the difference between them. So that is the orange and the coconut. The next one we have there is the chili pepper. We look at that, the presentation of that chili pepper is that of the one we call the so the 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 chili pepper there we have is also the one we call the presentation there is the one we call the acid presentation, and being that both of them is coming from the same fleshy fruits. The fleshy fruits we have here, fleshy fruit, the ones that are succulent, then you find out that if you compare this you can also look at the possibility of comparing the two of them and to find out the position of the position of their placentation. Ah, okay. It seems that the both of them are the same because all of them, the placentation here, they are all as a placentation. But then for this is also a part of the this one is what we call the droop. This is what we call the droop. The droop is the one that has a well-defined, it has a well-defined epicap, mesocap, and endocap, and then you see the seed, they are well-defined. Some of them could be fleshy, but for coconuts, the middle, the mesocap is always dry. Mesocap is always dry. And the mode of dispersal of this one is by water. The water can take it um, to anywhere it's going to germinate. While this other one has to do with animals. Perhaps when animals feed on them, then they swallow the seed and then take it to another place, and then they can also germinate there. And if you look at this, the same thing with this other one that can also pass the such process. All right, we are going to stop our this is the much we can give you at this moment, and we wish you, we would like to hear from you, and you can also comment, like, and tell us what you feel about this very our uh, class today. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Thank you so much.